welcome back everyone to R2Kast. Oh, I haven't thought which one it is. R2Kast number 6. Welcome to R2Kast number 6 with myself, Rural to Kitchen, and today we have the wonderful guests, Our Farming Journey. If you want to say hello, guys.
Hi.
So Rachel and Jake are, I'm going to say influencers. Whether they would like me to say that, I don't.
Right, influencer.
Yes. We'll get into that anyway in a minute or two.
I'm the model. I just get photos taken of me, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
You're right, actually. You're right. If you check out the Facebook page, which we will get into, yeah, you are a professional model, actually, Jake. So, yeah, it's wonderful where social media can take you, isn't it? It's wonderful. Just before we get into the good stuff, I'll go into the boring stuff. Just if you could subscribe to me on YouTube, that would be fantastic. So, Rural to Kitchen on YouTube. And follow me on Facebook as well. That would be much appreciated. If you prefer to listen to your podcasts as opposed to watching them, which I do personally, hopefully YouTube won't shut me down for saying that, but I quite like just chucking my headphones on, and I say go on a walk, all my mates will be saying you never leave the house, and that's probably fair. But just pop Spotify on if you can follow that over there. That would also be excellent and much appreciated. But we'll get into the sort of more fun side of things as to why we're actually here, who we're talking to, and we'll kick off. I've known Rachel and Jake for, I don't actually know when I first spoke, maybe about September time, August time. Started sort of
like 6. I mean, it feels like a lifetime, don't get me wrong. But it used to be like six months, should we say, something like that?
Basically, part of the household is what they're saying. As a lot of you guys know, before the R2Kast, we sort of had a thing where I would have a chat with people and write up their story, and it was maybe not doing justice to those involved as much as it should have. But these guys were some of the first people involved. I think maybe the 5th from memory, but now we're basically going to go over that and actually have a chat, and you can meet them in person. So yeah, who is Rachel and Jake? What's your sort of story? Where have you came from and all that sort of? Apart from Jake just looks like me with an actual haircut. What's the sort of story?
It's untamed. I'm like, you need to go at mop chop farmer. That's what I think.
Look at this, like it's
a bit crazy all this there, isn't it?
Lockdown haircuts.
Well, there you go.
Or lack thereof. Yeah. Yeah. So what's the sort of the story behind the guys behind Our Farming Journey?
So I am Rachel, our Mrs. Farmer, and this one is
Jake
or Mr. Farmer.
Farmer.
So we are a young family of first generation farmers. We started our farming journey back in March 2018.
What did I think?
What?
I was going to say 15, right?
No, it definitely wasn't 15. Ignore him. Back in 2018, we gained a tenancy on a farm in South Devon, which was amazing and kind of farmers' lifelong dream, wasn't it? So like I said, we're first generation farmers, so we're not from farming backgrounds. So we kind of knew if we wanted to farm on our own account, we would kind of have to go it alone. So that's exactly what we did. And we quit our jobs and everything and moved to a different county and set up our business like from nothing, basically, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which has been a bit of a journey. So yeah, we didn't have any animals, we didn't have any equipment, machinery or anything.
We just came here with some loans.
We just came here with some money in the bank and a bit of enthusiasm, and we just cracked on, didn't we, Farmer? And then 3 years later, so we've been here for 3 years next month, 3 years in March, and we've built up our holiday let business, which is our diversification business, and obviously the farm.
The bread and butter.
Well, yeah, that's kind of our main source of income.
Yep.
Obviously, albeit not during a global pandemic, don't get me wrong, but in normal times.
It hasn't helped much, has it?
No, not really. So we've built it all up from nothing, basically. And 3 years on, we're doing pretty well, aren't we?
Well,
surviving.
We're still here, yeah. So.
We're still here. There you go. We're doing all right.
You haven't kicked us out yet.
Well, that's it. It's quite funny. If you're watching on YouTube, it's Rachel's almost got something said. Ain't we, Farmer? He's ready to answer. It's how it is in all these relationships, isn't it? Yes, miss. Yep.
He just that's the best thing to do, isn't he? Smile and nod in the right places.
Yeah, so I mean that in itself is quite a jump, obviously. What was it you did before? What was employment before the farm?
Working on dairy farms, like employed, living in the dairy farmer's house, and just all round general slave.
God, here we go. Should we get the violins out, guys? Let's get the violins out.
Rachel wouldn't let me go dairy farming though, so.
No. Well, we're beefing sheep now, so. Well, I just don't want to. I mean, I've already lose him to his moos anyway, and do you know what I mean? So I don't want to kind of lose him completely to the milking parlour as well.
I'm allowed to go relief milking though, so I still get that little fix.
I'm allowed. Oh my god.
But this is just a chat about farming. I'm not a counsellor. Well, first off, Jake, as someone who did a milking this morning for the first time in God, maybe about 5 years, I don't know why you want to do that every morning. I'm knackered, to be honest. But yeah, it's good that.
Best time of the day, 4 o'clock in the morning. There's no.
I agree. I actually agree, but then come the sort of time when everyone else is enjoying their day, you're knackered.
Always that thing about being 3 or 4 hours late to the pub as well, and all your mates have already been there for ages, and you've got to finish milking and go and have a shower and eat some dinner, and they're, where are you? Well, just got home. So.
Yeah, it's nice to know that you're wanted. I don't get the where are you? They say, oh, just wait at home. I feel like I should throw in a disclaimer. Rachel mainly will use a different language, I think I'll actually say. We've already heard moves.
Subtitles, didn't you? Oh, mind you, that wouldn't be good for a podcast, would it?
Not really, no.
No.
I mean, the viewership's a lot higher than Spotify. I think that the Spotify people wouldn't benefit too much from it. No, we'll throw some out there. But maybe you want to. We notice we've already had moose, which is obviously cows. But the first time I ever actually spoke to yourself was on a Zoom call a few months ago, and there was like a full sentence about a cup of tea being lovely, but I didn't know what the word was, and I don't have a clue what she's saying. So, yeah. Gert, what's Gert first off?
Gert means like big. Like, so if I say my Gert brew, like Gert is obviously big and brew is obviously my brew, like my tea. And I know Wallace doesn't like tea, and this is something that I have a deep issue with. I'm making peace with it, but this is my Gert brew, and that's something I say a lot because it like runs through my veins. So that is something I say on a very regular basis. But yeah, things like moose, like it's obviously his cows. What else do I say? I don't know. I think I talk so much I can't.
Rachel spent like nearly a year living in Cambodia teaching Cambodian kids English. So it makes me wonder what they're walking around now like, oh, babes! Oh, babes!
That was when I was a lot younger, by the way.
That's brilliant. I'm just, yeah. No, that'd be good to see. Yeah. Did you go into sort of the use of correct punctuation, or just how to say cows and fancy words? You know, like it's very important.
I think I was rather more influencing back then, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Influencing the young generation in a positive way.
Which you're obviously still doing now, obviously. You know. Before we just end up having a chat instead of actually doing a podcast. Before we started recording, by the way, we spoke for 53 minutes. So we're 43 minutes. Sorry, just been sitting chatting anyway. So we'll try and keep it some kind of formality to it for the rest of it.
Some kind of professional.
If you want professionalism, you've got the wrong person because it's just not in his genes, I'm afraid.
Beard up in a minute.
But yeah, don't worry, I will limit the factors. All right, I will limit how much more he can have.
That's just for the viewers and any other person sitting at home or whatever. There is other ciders available. This is not an ad. But yeah, so you've came from not farming, and then you've decided let's make the jump. Well, not farming. Obviously, you've been working in farms, Jake. But you've decided to make that decision to just jump in. What is the
ultimate fantasy of jumping from a farm hand to actual farmer like that, which is quite rare, I think.
Very, very, yeah, it is, and it's you know it's a big story when someone does it. You know, it's in the paper or whatever, and
it's a bit of like a positive light, I suppose, that it can be done. Although, like, people say, oh, you know, you haven't really got a proper tractor, or you can't be a proper farmer if you haven't got a proper tractor and all this crap. And it's like, well, I don't really, do you know what I mean? We've got a nice little David Brown that does the job.
Surely if you're rearing stock, what matters is you're rearing quality stock. It doesn't matter how you get there. If they're in a place of high welfare, meeting correct standards, and you guys are getting by, that's what matters. That's what it's for. It's a business that has to treat animals correctly, so you have a food product. That if you're meeting those three things, then that's perfect. But you said beef and sheep. What sort of stock numbers do you have? What sort of land area are you guys farming?
We came and we had like 20 heifers to begin with, and we borrowed a bull, and just sort of, because we had a lot, obviously taking the farm on was quite expensive because we had to carpet the house and all that sort of thing. So yeah, we came with about 20 heifers and a bull that we'd borrowed from someone, and now we've got, I think we'll have 40 cows going to a bull this year and 80 ewes lambing in a minute. So we're getting there, we're building up. The farm's 120 acres, but I really would think we'd be able to get away with 50 cows and 120 ewes. So we're not a million miles away. But with, at the same time, that the farm's not really, you know, in a farmable condition when we turned up. So we've put in about 3,000 meters worth of fencing, and we're still nowhere near done. The bloody things still escape everywhere.
It's not that bad anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we're just putting in new grasses and stuff like that. Like this year, we've put in some Italian ryegrass, like a just ridiculous mowing lay. It's like a sort of 3 or 4 cut job, and we've put in some GS4 sheep lays as well for the sheep.
Oh yeah,
herb-rich swards and all that sort of stuff. So it's all coming together. It's just the most annoying thing for me personally is going from working for farmers and just being like, can you just make up your mind what are you gonna do? And since we come here, I cannot make my mind up about absolutely anything, because there's you can do different products for different, you know, you can get 500,000 different sorts of fence posts, for God's sake. You know,
fence posts. Like we literally need to like earmark a whole day. You know what I mean? Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but a whole afternoon for a minute's blooming fence post. Not this.
Before last, we actually went out for a meal, didn't we? I surprised her. And on the way there, we stopped off at
this was on my birthday, might I add.
A fencing dealership, so we could get a good deal. And then Rachel was talking about how it was her birthday and all that. We got loads of money off. It was well good.
Surely that in itself has got to be a good thing, Rachel. Saving it might mean another dinner sometime. Maybe not, but.
Paid for the meal that we had.
There we go. Silver lining, isn't there?
Exactly.
It's funny. Fencing's one of those ones that's therapeutic. I love knocking in stabs. I love putting strainers in. Like, what was that?
What's a stab?
Oh, here we go. I had this argument with my students all week last week. A stab is this weird thing you talk about called a post.
We call them stakes in Devon.
Oh, stakes. I added stakes into discussion, and I'm like, nah, that's what you're producing. You're not putting them in the ground. Yeah, no. But see, once you get to straining stage, I'm done with this job entirely. I don't want to strain fencing. It's just, yeah, it gets pretty laborious for that stage. But I think, yeah.
The only thing I find therapeutic about it is that hopefully the blooming things won't be escaping any longer. So that's my therapy that I take from it.
Well, once we fence it, they keep the sheep and the cows in and keep the bloody dog walkers out, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that is an issue, and it's maybe something we should just raise as a side point. Like, I mean, it's coming up to lambing time and calving time and whatnot, and we see a lot of folk wanting to go dog walks and whatnot because of lockdown, understandably. But one thing I think that we should all be aware of is that even if a dog's on a lead and it walks past a sheep or near a sheep or whatever, it's not just, it's not attacked it, so it's fine. You imagine being a sheep whose one of their main predators is wolves, that sort of foxes, that sort of thing. You see a fox, you don't see the lead, you don't see the person. You see that lead and it's a person you don't know, and that is enough to abort your lamb, your calf, that sort of thing. So I know you said it sort of in jest there, Jake, but it is something that I like to outline, so anyone listening that's dog walking and whatnot, just take heed sort of thing and be aware that is a thing.
It's just being responsible, isn't it? It's just being responsible. And I totally get, like, with lockdown and everything, of course, like, people are gonna, you know, go for more walks, absolutely, and I totally understand that. But it is just being responsible and respecting other people's land, isn't it? And respecting other people's, you know, respecting livestock. So this was quite a few months ago now. I'm just trying to think of what story she's going to come out with. So much that happens here. We had somebody, and this is not even a joke, okay? I wish I'd got a really clear photo of it, but I was too far away, even though he heard me scream. But anyway, I was literally in the garden with our mini farmers, and we got a phone call from one of the neighbours who lives kind of overlooking some of our fields. And she was like, "Is that you?" And I was like, "What do you mean is that? Like, what do you mean? Is that me? What would you mean?" And she said, "There's somebody surfing down your field on a surfboard in amongst the cows, the calves and the bull, right?" And I was obviously like, "What?" So I looked at it, she'd obviously explained what field, and I was like, "Oh my goodness me." And there was somebody, I won't say the word, there was some person surfing. I mean, we've got really steep fields, like a lot of our fields are really, really steep.
Yes.
He was full on surfing down. It was really wet. It was a really wet and windy day, and he was full on surfing down our field in amongst all the cows and the calves and our like 1-ton bull. I was like, man, I screamed. Like, I mean, he heard me. I mean, I was quite far away.
Well, he's just gonna get bullied, isn't he?
Well, all the cows
exactly
were surrounding him. I was like, oh my goodness me. So it's things like that. It's just like, that's just, you know, not very sensible, and I'm being very PC, but it's just, you know, he could have seriously got got injured on a serious note. Do you know what I mean? In that kind of situation. And it's things like that. It's just, it's like, as long as people use their common sense, they respect other people's land and animals.
That's a bit why Wallace is doing this, babe, to try and get that information out there, so people will think, oh yeah, maybe it isn't a good idea that I'll go in there.
Yeah, and you've sort of hit the nail on the head. I was more like, yeah, there's so many more sides to it than even I was explaining. There's the sort of welfare thing of the sheep falsely aborting for no reason. There's remember, you're a person and you quite like living as well, so try and not do that to save your life as well. And yeah, there's ways in what's that?
Like, it's not a park. It's a work environment, and it's dangerous.
And animals are unpredictable, so even, you know, obviously you work with them every single day.
I took some cake up to our rams the other day, and one of them mullered me, and I was a bit like.
But you've got to be careful. They are, you know, they're unpredictable, aren't they? You don't know what they're thinking. Yeah. And it's just like, especially like you said, Wallace, if you've got a dog, especially off a lead or whatever, you know, it's to them, it's just like, you know, it can be really quite stressful.
We upset a few of the villagers because we live like right in the village. Well, we fenced this 10-acre field, which is just up there, but people were walking the whole way around, and it pretty much comes down into our back garden. And a couple of times we were sitting out there with the kids having some food and whatever, and then people just like walk past, and we were like, what?
That's wrong.
Yeah, but then what we did, because there's a footpath that runs at the top corner and out the other side of the corner. So if they were going to use the footpath, that's fine, but they use the whole 10 acres. So when we fenced it, we just pulled the fence out 2 meters, so now there's just a channel. They just go in one end and out the other end. They can't go anywhere.
You've learned to channel people like sheep.
But it keeps people safe, because they're not like, if there's a bull in the field, there's like, you know, a completely stock-proof fence. And also it keeps our animals safe. So it keeps Farmer from losing his head. And it keeps Mrs. Farmer from spilling a brew. From getting proper cray-cray. So it's best for everybody. Best for everybody involved, honestly.
Of which I'm sure, Jake, you never lose your head, obviously.
No.
No, not at all.
Speak to one idiot though. The second time I usually do.
Yeah, fair enough. You do sort of lose your patience for these things, don't you? Yeah, good stuff. So sort of got a wee bit sidetracked there, but I thought it was quite an important topic just when you'd mentioned it. So where we were is you guys have sort of came here, you've made this jump onto farm, and now you're sort of farming away and making. You were talking about sort of G4 lays and stuff like that there, Jake. You're making decisions that are quite advanced decisions and focus on this, you Jake, because you said it, both of you. And I think that's one thing we quite often look at, the sort of the new entrant. It's always, oh, they're new entrants, so we need to give them a lot of assistance and whatnot. Whereas, yes, obviously we all need assistance, but you guys are going out, you're trying. Trial and error is the best thing in farming. It's, I think, well, maybe not entirely, but you know, for the most part, trying these things, see how they work.
That's not too badly, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And normally it's not poor to the extent that you suffer for the next year. You can sort of now jump on something else that doesn't work. But I think that's great to see. The reason we have these guys on, and the reason I originally got in touch with them, was I was trolling Facebook one day, as I never do, and I saw a post of it was just a guy standing over at a market looking at some sheep, and this sort of funny written story about why are we getting sheep. That's literally all I sort of remember. It's quite a long story. And I followed this page, and I said to Jess, my girlfriend, I was, oh, Jess, have you seen these guys? They're quite entertaining. She's like, the sort of usual response I get, yes, I've been watching them for however long.
Yeah, legend.
But I started following them, and then that was maybe, oh God, that was probably about 2 years ago, a year ago, year and a half ago, whatever. Quite, maybe not, but a fair chunk ago, before Rural Kitchen started. And then when we got in touch with them, obviously we sort of got in touch and did this before, and then the podcast now. But the reason that they were so sort of, they came to me in a sense, was they have a Facebook presence, and it's quite a notable presence. Is it 22,000 followers, you said?
Yeah, I think it's about 20,000 now, yeah.
I'm just a model. I'm just a model.
He thinks he's the face of it. He thinks I'm like the brains behind it, and he's the face. That's what he thinks.
In fairness, there's a lot more photos of you, Jake, so that must be the case. Yeah.
90%, Jake.
He just stands there and starts posing, like, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
He loves
Vogue
it.
soon enough.
I need a photo, because you know what I mean, like, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm about to run inside and change my top.
You know, he'll stand there, or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, right, you love it. You absolutely love it.
He'll be in Vogue soon enough, Vogue or something like that, you know.
I said there's 22,000 followers and 20,000 of them are women.
I actually looked at my insights, and there's 78% of my followers are women. Probably like my gran and my auntie and my mum, but still, you know, it's all important.
Definitely big, mate. 100%.
People love it.
We're getting into a total pathway I do not want to get into at all. So we'll jump back. But yeah, the sort of social media thing has put you guys sort of on the map in some ways. What made it happen? Why did our farming journey become a thing? Did it start as you started on the farm, or just anything about it really?
So basically, we started. We are on Instagram as well, but I'm kind of not as present on Instagram just because I just get on better with Facebook for whatever reason. So we started like our social media pages, specifically Facebook, when like just before we moved to the farms. I think it was probably about February 2018.
Was it?
Yeah, just before we moved. Yes, darling. Yes. Don't worry about that. So yeah, just before we moved to the farm, and it wasn't even our farm. It wasn't called Our Farming Journey. Nothing like that. It was basically a holiday let page, obviously for our holiday let business. So it's just advertising that. Trying to grow.
It just sort of grew into what it is. Really?
So we literally started it off as a holiday let page to advertise the holiday let, obviously try and get bookings, put photos of the rooms and obviously the scenery and all that kind of stuff. And that's literally kind of the purpose of what it was. And I remember when we were like moving, obviously when we actually moved to the farm, and we were setting everything up, I remember I did one post on there, that was just a little bit about our day and about like obviously, you know, kind of setting up the businesses and everything like that. And people like really liked it. And like we had quite a small following at that point. It was only a few hundred people, but the people that were following us were quite interested and were asking lots of questions. And I found that people were quite interested in our story. So then, and also it got to the point was like, how many times can you show a photo of the same room? Do you know what I mean? Like,
True.
Like, you know, get like a kind of holiday let or hospitality page. How many times, you know, I mean, it's the 4-bedroom farmhouse, so it's a reasonable size. So how often can you? There's only so many photos you can show.
Yes.
It's a bit repetitive. So we started to share a little bit more about our journey and incorporating the holiday letter as well. So kind of still advertising that at the same time. And people just really liked it. Like we kind of following gradually grew. And it took a while. We were here probably, I'm trying to think now, for probably about a year and a half, and it was still kind of all like mainly about the holiday letter with a bit about our journey kind of chucked in. And then we started to kind of, I say, blog a little bit more on there, and like delve a little bit more into our story. And then we kind of just started to change the name of it because it became more about a blog as opposed to like the holiday letter. And it just kind of snowballed. And it still baffles me because I think, why do 22,000 people care what me and Emma are up to? But they do, which is lovely, amazing. So it kind of evolved into our farming journey, and it's kind of became this whole community now, which is amazing. We've got some wonderful people on there that follow us and support us. Many people that we've obviously, lots and lots of people that we've never even met, that send us lovely messages, that comment on our posts, that share our stuff, and that just kind of are there for us, which is really, really lovely. So it's a lovely little community and we love it.
Good. Yeah, I know. It's funny. Everyone you ask that's got some kind of, a presence you can sort of define by numbers, is they always say, yeah, I just started it, and then suddenly it was the thing. and I think the reason that's the case is when someone sort of starts it with say, I start something because I want 22,000 followers. Strange target to aim for, but it's very specific. But if you're doing that, you're not actually enjoying the sort of process. And the reason folk get on board with the likes of yourselves and hopefully myself, things like that, is because the folk that are doing it are enjoying it, they're passionate about it, and it's good to see. And folk like seeing farming. I think there was a sort of while there where it was sort of not in the media, but didn't want it in the media. But with social media, we've been able to sort of bring it in ourselves, and folk are really starting to enjoy it. And there's not millions out there that are sort of about new farmers, and that sort of opens up that sort of possibility, as you were saying earlier, Jake, that it's like, it's doable. It's tough, but it's doable. And that's why I started really enjoying it. And that if you haven't checked our farming journey out, maybe you want to explain a bit more about it, Rachel, but it's sort of like, it's about the sort of real things on a farm, but there's also, it's sort of done in a humanist way. And as I say in Rachel's foreign Cambodian language, it's quite enjoyable. So if you've anything else you'd like to say about what you do on the page, maybe just tell us about it. And you've obviously said it's came from looking at pictures inside the house to this blog now, but what sort of stuff do you cover? You don't have to talk about the push-up challenge that I did make sure to check out.
Oh my god, that is shocking. It's only because the lovely Gareth Wyn Jones nominated us, so I thought, right, I can't turn down the legend that is Gareth, so that's why
he was actually quite good at it, and I thought,
I was shocking. Anyway,
I've got to show up this old man.
So anyway,
called out. You hear that, Gareth?
Can you cut that bit out? Seriously?
No, definitely not. I'm leaving that in 100%. I might even tag him now and say, timestamp it.
I apologise. That is farmer. That is not
Gareth will love it.
me.
He's got a banner.
God. Anyway, so on the Facebook page we share. It's kind of a combination of lots of things, really. We share obviously about our journey, and I think some of the reason maybe it's been quite successful is because
it's real, isn't it?
Yeah, it's real, and we share the highs and the lows. The highs and the lows. Mainly the highs, don't get me wrong. And it's kind of what I think people really relate to is the realness of it. So it's like when we round up sheep, it's a total mare. So you've got literally farmer with his colourful language, me blimmin' falling over in my hunters onto my Gert booty, and the woolly buggers totally dispersed all over the bloody field. It's just total chaos. But we share that because it makes people laugh, because laughing at us, obviously not with us.
Well.
And it's relatable because sheep are delightful thing, but they can be a bloody nightmare. He's on a blooming Corona now.
I've run out of cider.
So
Don't say that word. Don't say that word. This will get cancelled.
I mean the drink. Obviously, I mean the drink. We just share like kind of funny stories about our life and simple things like rounding up the sheep when the cows escape.
And the dogs don't bloody listen. You know,
it's just kind of a fun snapshot of our life as first generation farmers. Funny stories, hopefully fingers crossed, inspiring stories of how we've done it. And
going back to the sheep worrying thing, where we fenced the footpath,
here we go.
Like, it's the only like level bit in that field. So if I'm up there with the hurdles, I always try and make it on the level bit. So you're trying to get them in, and the dogs are there behind them. I think, oh, yeah, this is going really well. I must be getting good at this now. And then somebody will walk past with their dog and wonder why the sheep have absolutely cacked it. So yeah, and then I start shouting, and then the dog walkers up.
I'm just wondering how many times, Jake, you can bring out throughout the course of the podcast when someone else has made the sheep go out of the way.
It'll be someone else, until Mrs. Farmer comes to the rescue.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, so it's just kind of, hopefully, we hope it's a fun community to be, where you can watch our journey, like laugh along with us, and hopefully maybe learn a little bit. Like, we do share a little bit kind of about.
Well, hopefully inspire other people to do the same thing.
And it is possible. It is 100% possible. So we get lots and lots of messages from young first generation farmers themselves who, want to farm on their own account. So they're not from farming backgrounds or from farming families. And they're looking for that opportunity to be able to farm in their own right. And obviously, it's not the most common thing in the world. So obviously, if you see a tenancy opportunity or something similar, then it's the kind of thing, grab it with both hands and go for it, because it's obviously, and sometimes you've got to be willing to like relocate potentially, depending on your circumstances. But we kind of want to show people it can be done. Yeah, it's hard work. But what isn't in life? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Normally the things that are quite good are the hard work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's good, isn't it? I mean, young folk coming into industry, not that I think these are young, but 7
years older than you. How mental is that?
Well, it's I 24 hit me hard, is all I'm saying. I thought it was bloody old. No, I love the sort of, you hear so much stories of, it's impossible to get into, and I'm cautious of folk around here that are young and getting into it, and it's good, the different methods there is of doing it. Always hard work, but it is good to see. And talking of hard work, you guys are maybe not running a guest house at the minute, but you got a guest house on the go, you've got a farm on the go, homeschooling at the minute, parenting in general.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think there was much room for anything else, but there is, isn't there? There's one other business involved there. So what else is keeping you guys busy at the minute?
We've also got a membership website. So this kind of came off the back of the Facebook page, because obviously our Facebook page is, obviously following our journey as first generation farmers. And we started to receive, as our following grew, we started to receive lots and lots of messages from other first generation farmers who wanted that advice and guidance of how to get onto the farming ladder. And it was kind of a combination of, we don't have all the answers. Obviously, I mean, who does? But we were getting some questions, and I was thinking, I'm probably not the best person to ask about that, because obviously we're still learning. We're still, we're only 3 years into our journey. We're still learning every single day. So it was a combination.
Every day is truly a school
day, definitely.
Yes.
A combination of some questions were kind of a bit out of our depth, to be honest. But it was also, we were receiving so many messages. I just couldn't keep up. I thought, I don't want to ignore people, of course not. I try and respond to everybody, but it was getting to the point we were receiving so many messages, I couldn't keep up. So we thought, right, there's clearly something missing out there for first generation farmers, like a resource or, piece of, some information.
A handy guide, if you will.
A handy guide, there you go. handy guide or a resource, whatever you want to call it. There's this bit of information is clearly, we believe anyway,
it's not getting out there.
Is missing, especially at an affordable price point, basically. So we've created a membership site specifically for first generation farmers. I mean,
actual industry experts as well, I might add. It's not just us going, oh, well, we think that you should do this and we think that you should do that. It's actual experts that charge you hundreds of pounds an hour just to sit and talk to them. There's it's fully good information.
You're a good salesperson, Jake.
They've got letters behind their name. I've got absolutely no idea what they mean. I'm not even gonna lie.
So yeah, it is awesome. It's something that we've worked really hard to create, and there's obviously a little bit of stuff on there from us, but it's mainly, a lot of it is some incredible experts that we've got, including Rural to Kitchen. So yours truly are on there
for free.
So yeah, we've got some really, really lovely people. Some amazing businesses who've given up their time and their expertise, and we're obviously very, very grateful to them. So we've got like Lloyds Bank are involved and they help with our financial aspect of it.
Just Lloyds Bank, for your sake.
Yeah.
when Rachel came up with this idea, I thought, yeah, this would be a good idea, and a bit like, it might just fade away. A bit like her Facebook, it might just go away, and she's just made it massive. And that's just a bit of a credit to her, really. Like the people that she's got involved in it is just like, and all the information. If we had that in the beginning, we'd have saved ourselves so much late nights googling and researching. Oh, well, that can't be right. Oh, you sure we need to do that? Oh, can we do this? Who do we need to speak to? And so yeah, credit to you, babe. Well done.
Oh, thanks, darling. Here we go. So yeah, so we've got some lovely, like, some amazing people on board. So we've got, obviously Rural Kitchen, we've got Lloyds Bank, we've got some big land agent firms who are mainly based in the southwest.
Yeah, from Greenslade and Kibbles.
So Kibbles Agriculture, Green Tea, Hunt.
Tenant Farmers Association.
Yeah,
you should have had the list ready prepared.
I know all the list. Simmons and Sampson, another brilliant firm as well that are on board. The Tenant Farmers Association, Cornish Mutual, Marsh Commercial. There's loads, absolutely loads of people. So
Precision Grazing, that's the one.
Precision Grazing, yeah.
Gareth on that, I think.
Gareth will be making an appearance. Yeah, not yet, but he will be. So yeah, so we've got some brilliant businesses who have been so supportive and given up their time and expertise to help, to kind of contribute to our mission of helping people at an affordable price point. So we're hoping it's really accessible to everybody, hopefully, who wants to access it, and hopefully it will help you and guide you on your own farming journey. That's kind of the spin we put on it. I mean, anyone can join. Obviously, any farmer can join if they want to, of course. But it is very specifically aimed really at first generation farmers who are kind of looking for tenancies or looking to kind of rent land for the first time, that kind of thing. That's kind of the angle we put on it, really. So yeah, that's kind of our farming journey in a nutshell, or in Mrs. Farmer's version of a nutshell.
just a word of advice when you're saying the names out there, the likes of Lloyds and Kibbles and whatnot. Don't start with Rural to Kitchen. Start with Lloyds. Throw me right at the back. That's not helping you at all.
I wondered what you were going to say then. I was thinking, oh God, if I said something I should have said,
I think you're right, Jake. When you're saying it's a credit to her, in fact, Lloyds are involved and stuff. Companies like that, Kibbles and stuff. That's pretty impressive. So yeah, I think even I don't know how I know it's in its infancy. I don't know where it is at the minute and where it might go. But I think the fact you've got it to that stage to just kick off is brilliant. So, do you want to say the name? I'll tell you what. Actually, you can say the name if you want, but I'll put the description in to join the herd, as these guys say. Yeah. I know the lingo. So yeah, we'll pop that in there if anyone's interested. If any first time farmers, folk looking to get into industry and whatnot, listening, then that's there, and you can check it out. And I would say, putting it in Rachel and Jake terms, a couple of cups of tea per month. It's really not expensive at all. I think it's a very fair price. but yeah, we've sort of went from where you guys started, and the fact you jumped into the farm and that sort of big jump that involved in that, and everything involved in it with young, just one wee one at that stage. Was that when you?
Farm, yeah.
Yeah. Now, obviously, two, creating a family on that farm, so that in itself is lovely, and maybe two aspiring farmers themselves. Hopefully is that. So yeah, the story in itself is lovely, and sort of following it on social media as well is really enjoyable. So I would advise you check out our farming journey. One thing I would always say, and I say it at the end of every podcast, is nobody gets away without answering two very specific questions. I don't know why they're there. They just somehow got there in the first one I ever did, and somehow they're still here.
Yeah, super worried. What's he going to say? I'm like, oh God, what are we going to get asked?
I've told you already. I told you before we started.
But remember, that was like a while ago, before, like 3 of those.
I would just like to say, Rachel, you've not had any, unless there's some in the tea. I don't know what's it.
Honest, you should know. I know we've never actually met in person, but over the amount of Zooms and messages and all that jazz we've done, like, this is just me. I'm sorry. I don't need a bevy, an alcoholic bevy. I've got my brew and I'm away.
We're above 30 now.
True. Yes. They'll be. Yeah. True. No, I'm saying nothing. I've already offended your age, and you've offended Gareth's age heavily. So,
Gareth's a legend, isn't he?
He loves
Absolute legend is Gareth.
He loves it.
This is just more of an episode about Gareth.
It's gonna be even worse because we got Wales tomorrow night, haven't we? So
oh God,
he's
obviously the rugby, isn't he?
If we win, I know we've already lost to Scotland, so I'm surprised you haven't brought that up.
Because I don't watch it. That's why.
Are you? Hang on a minute.
You're a farmer who doesn't watch rugby and drinks porn star martinis.
Do you know what's funny? You're saying that, thinking, that's going to embarrass him to his viewers. I tell everyone that. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, but do you follow football instead?
Yeah, I follow football. I don't really watch much football or rugby. If you were to pick out on any sport I follow, it's actually soccer. I follow a lot of MLS football and Chinese football. I don't know why. I just found myself watching it and I quite enjoy it. I can see his face and I can see the viewers thinking it's turn off time. But yeah, no, I do watch. I'll watch a Six Nation game if it's on, but I'm not like going out of my way to do it. That I certainly knew Scotland beat England because I literally couldn't find anything else on Facebook for about 8 days. But yeah.
First time they won at Twickenham for 38 years, apparently. 38 years.
Funny how you've got that number, like, be throwing that one out anytime everyone says, "So we beat you last week," 38 years. You can just sense it,
Well,
yeah, so yeah, fair enough. No, I wish I could join in, but I'm not a huge rugby fan, unfortunately. Apologies. A lot of my viewers will be against me as well in that one. But yeah, the two things we sort of ask everyone before they get out my clutches and manage to get to bed or have 5 or 6 pints, whatever's on course for the Friday night, is one, where do you see yourself in 5 years, apart from the retirement home? And 2, if you had any tips for folk coming into farming, what would they be? So yeah, what are we thinking on those two?
Okay, where would we see ourselves in 5 years?
We'd have made our millions by then.
So basically, I think in 5 years' time, we would like to potentially be. What do you think about that?
We've been here for 3 years now, and like I'd like to think in 5 years we've got 4 years left, haven't we?
Of our tenancy at the moment, yeah.
Okay.
5 years time, but in my head, I would like to have moved on to a bigger farm, and
Right.
I'd like to be about 100 suckler cows, 100 suckler cows, and probably like 300 ewes, something like that.
Right.
We want to keep.
I want to be able to work at home 100% of the time, basically. And
in 5 years' time, we will.
Yeah.
I hope to have achieved that definitely, because farmer still works off the farm, only like not all the
It's just
time,
relief milking it,
but
so
it's
I
just a
think
bit
I'll
of
come back
relief
in the middle of the
milking.
day, so
But it would be
come back
nice.
to see the kids in the day, and then I'll go
Yeah.
off again, don't I?
But it would be nice for him to be home like all the time. So I think I don't know whether we will maybe potentially still be here, like if we were to get a second tenancy where we currently are at the moment, or whether we were to move on to a bigger farm, potentially if we can. But I think kind of regardless of where we are, we just want to keep expanding, don't we?
Yeah.
Keep building on what we've already built, and keep improving things. And also improving kind of like the quality of what we produce as opposed to the quantity all the time. So I know Farmer's got his heart set on like a Limmy herd, haven't you?
Yeah, I just love like whenever you're driving anywhere and you see like a pedigree Limousin herd and they're all massive, big, muscly things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the minute we haven't got any. We've got a few cows like that, haven't we? But it's a bit of a rainbow herd. We've got Simmentals, Herefords, and Anguses, and Limousins, and everything. I wouldn't mind a few Belgian blue heifers as well, but
I was just going to say, I'm surprised Belgian Blues aren't on the list, if that's the sort of
they are on the list, mate. They're just not turned up yet. It'll just be one Saturday. I'll go out the market. And, they're quite cheap, and then I'll give them a phone call. There'll be a lorry pulling the.
It'll just be rocking up the driveway.
While I'm at milking, like, can you just turn those cattle out while because I'm at milking. Just let
It's happened. It has happened, Wallace. I'm not gonna lie. We just rocked up the driveway.
She's looked out the bedroom window. Huh? Didn't think there was meant to be any cows in that field. Yeah. Me neither. Yeah.
Funny he's arrived home with flowers tonight.
Yeah, I should be so lucky. So we just hope to kind of be, potentially on a bigger farm, or even if, like I said, we were to gain a second tenancy here, just to be improved, like wherever we are, just to be kind of still farming, still
just have that feeling that we're moving forward.
Yeah. And because, like I said, because we started from literally nothing 3 years ago, it's even like small kind of achievements and small improvements are quite big to us, because obviously
absolutely
we started from nothing. So to kind of just continue building on what we've got so far, and continue improving things, and continue expanding and supporting.
I'm guessing from both of your answers, the ultimate goal one day is to hopefully buy a place. Would that be sort of like the ultimate
fairy tale dream ending?
Yeah.
Possibility, it can happen.
Absolutely.
Less thatchers, right? And it can happen. That is the ultimate dream, and obviously, we are talking probably quite far in the future. But
everybody that we know that buys a farm always moves up your way.
Oh, if you're looking to go to a nice place, would you be daft not to, really, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Exactly.
God's country.
We do like Scotland.
Yeah, we do love Scotland. So it's like the world's our oyster. I mean, we just want to kind of. That is the ultimate dream. I mean, I think that's every farmer's dream.
The ideal thing for us is that we've like earlier on we said Rachel's lived in Cambodia. I lived in New Zealand for 2 years farming over there, and when we've been back, we've lived in North Wales and Bournemouth, like near Glastonbury again. And that's one of the main things. If you want a farm and you get one, you just got to pick up and go. It's like, 2 hours away from mum. I was like, well, no. If you want the farm, then you want the farm. It doesn't matter where.
And because some of those opportunities can be quite rare. It is, if it's something you really, 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 really want, and you get that opportunity, it kind of is a case of sometimes you might have to relocate. You might have to kind of up and leave everything that you've got where you currently are. But if it means you then get to do what you've always wanted to do, then obviously it's kind of a bit of a sacrifice sometimes, isn't it? So that hopefully one day we might be able to own our own farm, our own little small holding. That would be epic.
Our own little small holding of 3,000 or 4,000 acres, yeah. I want a massive farm, babe.
I know. Well, stop drinking your factors and start saving, buddy. That's all I can say.
Anything from keeping me from having a full head of grey.
Oh, he blames the grey. The grey is not me. The grey is the farm, I tell you.
What advice would you give people coming into farming, babe?
Look at this. I don't. I'm just going to head off. I don't need the podcast or
Look at ourselves down the camera and just speak to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Get rid of that bearded prick.
So advice I would give.
No, not you. I meant me.
I should just leave you two to it, shouldn't I? You're your own little comedy sketch, you two.
What advice would you give?
So advice I would give to people, to young first generation farmers like us, or advice that I would give to us 3 years ago when we were in that position.
That's what he's asking for, babe.
What I'm answering. So advice I would give is, and this is something that I've kind of learned a lot over the last few years, what they say is, this is the saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Or obviously for us, just the smartest person in the field, you're in the wrong field, right? So learn from the people that are where you want to be. That's what I would say. So if you see people that are in the position that you want to be in, then pick their brains, watch what they do, listen, learn. That's something I would definitely say is, surround yourself with people that you can learn from. And that's something from our tenancy, especially in the early days when we literally had nothing, is we really, really leaned on the farming community around us, and we learned from the local farmers. Yeah, so some local farmers around here have just been so generous and so lovely towards us. And we've learned a lot from them. They've also helped us, kind of like lent us different equipment and machinery and stuff like that, because we literally didn't have anything. And we would have struggled to kind of get by in the early days without that support. And I think community and the company that you keep, it's important. And whether that's in real life, face to face, or whether that's online, on the online world, learn from people that have achieved what you want to achieve, basically. And talk to them, get to know them, talk to them, interact with them, spend time with them, and find out how to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say as well is, and I know it might be kind of a bit cheesy, but just don't give up. Do you know what I mean? Like, perseverance, your mindset is everything. If you believe, again, it might be a bit cheesy, but if you believe you can do it, you're halfway there. Do you know what I mean? If you've got the attitude, the enthusiasm, the commitment, then that's a massive chunk of what you need to succeed. So keep going, keep trying, keep persevering. And the industry needs young, fresh blood, don't they?
I think the average age of a farmer now is like 56 or something.
Yeah.
50. I think it's 59 actually.
59.
Yeah, basically 60. Yeah.
Yeah. So we need young, enthusiastic, hard-working people that are going to come into the industry and shake it up a little bit. They've got new ideas, that want to kind of, be advocates for British farming, and be the future of British farming. It's really important. So that would be my advice, farmer. Anything else? Any pearls of wisdom? I
would just say that nothing is gonna be perfect. Like, in your head, you'll have this plan. We'll have these 20 cows, and then we'll have 20 calves, and rarely anything will go right. There will always be problems or things that need solving, and it's just stay positive, keep your thinking cap on, because it's easy to go off and then go off for 2 or 3 hours in a rage, and then nothing happens. You just stay positive and just keep working hard. Just keep fixing these things. Like last year, our scanning didn't go very well. We had like 8 empty ones, but we knew from the soil analysis that the trace elements and stuff we got locked up, because it's a very acidic farm, so we've gone on spreading bolus the cows for minerals. I think this year we'll probably run 2 bulls instead of 1, because it dries up so much that the cows are spread out everywhere. It's a lot of ground for 1 bull to cover. So you think, well, hopefully this year you'll see it on the blog. If we scan 100%, then we scan 100%, and we've stayed positive. We've thought about it, and you come up with a solution, and there you go. Yeah. I just thought of something else. Oh, here we go. The fingers out. The fingers. I just thought, I just thought of something else. So, also as well, it's obviously farming. If that's your main passion, that's brilliant, and that's obviously what you want to get into. But also think outside the box. So, for example, when we came, we were doing B&B, and I was the face of that. You should see me in the mornings doing a fried breakfast. But think outside the box. So obviously,
farming's brilliant, but the majority, I don't know what the percentage is, but I know that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure
there's not many
the majority, I'm pretty sure the majority of farmers in this country do diversify, and it can be, you know, from when we first came here, we were running like a bed and breakfast and holiday let, and we literally did everything ourselves, which was a big mistake because we couldn't kind of farm, look after children, work,
I
and
used to slam
run.
people's breakfast down and run out the door because the bloody cows had escaped. Put their breakfast down, I'm not enjoying, and then they see me running past the windows in the front of the house. Like.
That
adds character to it, though. That's brilliant, I think. Yeah.
So diversification is a huge thing in farming, and whether that's, you know, whether it's hospitality or whether it's like an online business that you've got, or whether it's, you know, I don't know, like whatever kind of diversification business that, you know, whether it's floristry, whatever it is, it's, you know, it can add that, you know, it can bring in that extra income to support the farm. And especially in the early days, we have found like that we wouldn't have survived without the holiday let, to be perfectly honest. It just wouldn't have
we
been
did have a
viable.
livery yard in the early days as well, but we've managed to get rid of that now. So,
so if you just, you know, I think that's a really good thing.
We won't go into that.
That's a good thing to think about as well. Is trying to source kind of multiple different income streams. I think that's really helped us. So for us, for example, we've got the farm.
Well, we looked at another farm, didn't we? It was a really, really nice farm. It was about the same amount of land, much bigger sheds. House was about the same, wasn't it really? But there was nothing there. It was in the middle of nowhere, and we just thought we'd have to borrow so much more just to cover that gap in between going there and actually earning anything. It wasn't going to work, was it? So and we chose obviously the rundown of the farms, but we're bringing it up now. Yeah. And that's all part of staying positive.
And it's what you can afford to take. It's what you can afford to take on as well as being realistic. It's obviously dreaming big, but also thinking right, but being realistic of what you can afford to take on.
That is another thing, is to be realistic with what you're gonna do.
There's loads of things. I could just keep. It just keeps going. I'm just thinking more. Like,
off, babe, can't you?
Yeah, but
I'll summarise it. I'll summarise it with work hard, be resilient, persevere. What was the word you said? Be realistic, and also don't put all your eggs in one basket. Try and sort of separate.
And learn from the people around you. Learn from the people around you.
Yes. Yeah, and that's sort. That very much so. Yeah, and that community you talk about, it's not like, you know, that community doesn't come to you. You have to sort of be part of it. You have to work your way in as well. It's not just. Yeah, exactly. I am quite gutted actually that neither of you said join the subscription service, but I thought that would be a plug opportunity.
That's what I mean by learn from the people that are you where you want to be. If you want to get a tenancy, we'll tell you how to do it. www.ourfarmingjourney.com. There you go.
Perfect. So well done. Yeah, good. I don't think I've got anything else that I specifically have to cover. If you guys want to chat about anything in particular, we can.
Your special signing off bit now, where you're like.
See, this is the thing. The best example I know of is Cammy Wilson. I don't know if you follow him on the Sheep Game. His just
I've been watching some of his videos. He's really good. Yeah,
I'm on one of them. Just yeah, but he you know, Cammy's the name, Sheep's the game. Like, that's perfect. And I was like, I need one like that. So all I can come up with is That's All the Day from R2K. But now I've said that and we haven't actually finished. So that that's going to look like a weird placement. But yeah, no, thank you both very much for coming on. I appreciate it muchly. And I will continue to follow your farming journey, and hopefully some of the listeners will as well. So yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Not at all. It's been good to chat again.
We'll get for a porn star martini.
Yes, we'll see you. Honestly, like, I think you guys think you're embarrassing me. If anything, you're just pushing me up socially. You know. Yeah, very much. So I'd love. Yeah, no, I very much appreciate having you on, and hopefully maybe we'll do something like this again soon, or maybe not soon, but sometime down the line we do some kind of catch up, if you will. Yes, that's what that is. This is in some ways. And to the viewers, make sure to check out our farming journey on Facebook, Instagram, and if you are looking to get into farming, or you sort of already are moving into it, check out their website there, ourfarmingjourney.com, www.ourfarmingjourney.com.uk. You'll find it. Come. It'll be in the description anyway. It'll be in the description. So check them out there as well, and follow them, and I'm sure you'll have endless fun reading through it all and just seeing how much trouble Jake gets in from Rachel. It's pretty much my thing. But we're filming this, about I think 6 weeks before it comes out. So I don't actually know who's next. So yes, I will see you in 2 weeks again for the next podcast, whomever it might be. We'll see you then in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening again, guys.
Ta-da.